Thank you for tuning in to the Afternoon Pint. This episode is sponsored by Camilla Najat of Exit Realty, Strategy Up Business Consultants, and ISS Atlantic Security Guard Services. Enjoy the show.
From far and wide we drink tonight with folks from
Cheers!
Cheers!
around.
Cheers!
Welcome to the Afternoon Pint. I'm Mike Tobin.
I am Matt Conrad. And who do we have
And
here?
I'm Mathieu Gagnon from Sober Carpenter.
Matthew, Sober Carpenter.
Yeah, Sober Carpenter.
So,
Yeah,
first of
exactly.
all, I really love to thank your team there for sending us the care package. At the beginning of the month, I announced that I was doing dry January. This is being recorded on January 27th, so I made it. I didn't touch a drop of beer or anything wine or anything alcohol related now for the entire month. I also stayed away from Hawkins Cheesies. That was another commitment that I made. I didn't touch those either. I don't know if you know this, Matthew, but the episode that just came out with, we had former Premier Stephen McNeil on our show, and
Okay.
he actually had a Sober Carpenter with us. He was doing dry January also. We were
Oh.
together. So it was pretty cool to
Very
enjoy
impressive.
your one of your beers with an ex-Premier.
Excellent. Good
So
stuff.
what do we have here? Because I'll start because mine's right up here behind me. The one that I'm drinking, that's the double IPA, which is pretty
that's the
tasty.
hazy. Yeah.
Yeah, hazy, exactly. It's pretty tasty, and I see you have pictures of oranges and creamsicles and stuff on there, and I can definitely you get that on there with that like nice hint of orange, and it's pretty good. I like a hazy IPA, so it's good.
I'm drinking the black IPA right there.
Yeah.
So those were a couple of our limited editions we've launched in the past. Yeah.
Cool.
And what are you drinking?
I'm drinking session IPA myself.
nice.
I'm an IPA guy, so I'm an IPA guy, so I drink the black, the hazy. I got a regular IPA and I got the session IPA in my fridge. That's what I drink.
Amazing.
So we're all having IPAs. We're all psychopaths. All right.
Oh. So, Sober Carpenter, how did it all begin?
It's myself and my brother are the owners, the founders. We've actually been around the beverage industry for a little while. We had a brewery in Quebec called Two Brothers Brewery. We were in the alcoholic space for a while. Also do brand on the alcoholics. I think that's called Pop Shop. We do the alcoholic version. So we've been in that space for a while, and same thing. I think as many people, we were drinking a lot of beer ourselves personally, and getting a bit older, slowing down in the senior league where we play hockey. Just feeling that, just getting, you feel you get a bit older. So we decided, we were in the beer business. We decided, what could we do to improve the category, because we felt there was a need. And we were just, when we started the business, taking a look at the non-alc category, it was like, end of 2017, 2018. So really, there wasn't much, the partakes of this world or athletic brewing were just starting up. We were seeing like, there's an opportunity, we should get involved. There's some opportunities. And we actually started talking with companies like Athletic Brewing, Brewdog, or Bravas out of the US to just look at it from a maybe just distribution portion, just importing from the US some of the beers that were starting up and that we saw that were very good quality, like Athletic Brewing, which I talked to back in 2018, early 2018 to import. And, as we had these discussions and it was, not going the way we wanted, or it was a bit too slow, we said, hey, we know beer. I think we could do a good product. And we decided to do it ourselves and work on developing a brand. And it's more importantly, working on developing some recipes and products that we thought Canadians could enjoy and have a top-notch product in terms of quality. So we started the route of talking to potential partners in terms of distribution, mostly American guys. And then we decided to go, well, let's create our own brand, own product, do it in Canada, bottle it in Canada, and then try to sell as much as we can in Canada and sell as much as we can in the US.
What was your approach like? Did it start on a community level, like Sober Carpenter? Like, were you just selling it in your hometown, or like how did you start selling it?
We no, we actually right off the bat saw that there was an opportunity at a national level. And that's sort of the approach we took with retailers, having knowledge of, rather than going the route of trying to sell to the BCLDB and the ABNL and all those liquor boards that maybe the beer guys are more traditionally used to selling.
Right.
We went and saw national distributors and national retailers and said, here's a product, and we think there's, it's a market that's going to develop. Look at, on your shelf, you have Klaus Tyler, you have, old, you
Yeah.
know, O'Doul's, like
Yeah.
O'Doul's and stuff like that, like who's bought an O'Doul's? I've never seen anybody drink it. So we went and we sort of told retailers that, we have an offering of a national product, and that is we can distribute everywhere and build a national brand. So rather than trying to go to the liquor boards and sort of have a provincial or regional distribution, we right away tried to develop national relationship with retailers like Sobeys and Metro, and stuff like that, Loblaws.
This might
That
be
is kind that is kind of the
tough question.
advantage, eh? The advantage of not the fact that there's no alcohol.
Yeah,
You can just go to anybody who's willing to sell your product, right?
yeah.
So that's kind of the unique advantage of anyone who's getting into that non-alcoholic space. It still wants to sell a product for people who still want to have a beer at the end of the day, or however many you want to have at the end of the day, and
Yeah.
and still be able to drive home or whatever, right?
How do you get alcohol out of beer? Do you make the beer and then remove the alcohol?
It's actually like, so there's a couple different ways to do it. And so there's the let's say the European way, which is a de-alc, right? You'll let's say you drink a Heineken Zero, they'll actually ferment it with beer, and then they do a process where they de-alkalize it. You can de-alc with either a slow distillation where you'll burn the alcohol off, or you'll do, let's say, a very small filtering system. The problem we found with this process, and that's why European beers are, let's say, all blonde, is they'll take out the flavor, right? They'll take out it. When you take either, if you burn off alcohol, you're going to take off some of the flavor, or if you filter it right, you're going to take off some of the flavoring. So what we do is we do a process called arrested fermentation. So we're basically like doing a recipe with what we would do for like a normal beer with a bit less malt, because we don't want to have like residual sugars and have like a sweet unfermented taste at the end where you have like sort of a heavy aftertaste because you have unfermented sugars. So we basically do everything the same way as you do a beer, but then we don't allow it to ferment super high. We crash it before it hits 0.05. So we basically bring the temperature extremely cold in the tank so the fermentation can't continue, and then we package it, ferment it so it can't restart the fermentation. So that's our process. It's called arrested fermentation, and it's a process that most brewers will use. There's another. You can also use a non-fermentable yeast that won't convert the sugars into alcohol. Same thing. We've experimented with that, but we find that really the best result to have sort of products like the black IPA or the hazy IPA that will really have some nice hoppy flavors is arrested fermentation.
Mm. Are some beers harder to make than others? They must be, because like this must be a challenging one to make compared to maybe like a lighter lager style or something else.
Yeah, definitely. IPAs are more difficult. Anything with dry hopping is going to be more difficult, and a lot of people think like, oh, it's non-alcoholic, should be cheaper than alcoholic beer. It's actually more difficult and more expensive, for example, or IPA, because when you dry
Yeah.
hop, we can't dry hop with hot liquid, so we need to put even more hops to extract that hop flavor, because it's like seeping tea, seeping hops. If it's warm, you're going to get a lot more flavor extracted out of there. When you're doing a dry hop with cold liquid, it's a lot tougher to extract that flavoring. So we have to pull it a lot more. So like with anything, like if you have more hops, more material in a brew, it's tougher to, at cold temperature, it's tougher to extract, tougher to then centrifuge, get all the material out. So those IPAs that we have, especially the more like our traditional West Coast IPA and our our hazy IPA are the most challenging beers to do for sure.
That's a big thing I think that a lot of people think about is they think I mean everyone knows that because there's alcohol and things, taxes are higher and all that stuff on those. And so that's why how people sometimes justify the fact that the cost of beer. But people often will say like, why is my non-alcoholic beer almost the same price as regular beer? But yeah, I don't think they realize the craft is still there. But also you have to, like you said, there's some things. It's easy to just let things sit and ferment versus controlling the process a lot more along the way, which is why you guys, end up having to spend a little bit more to kind of do the process. I don't think people realize that. Yeah.
Oh no, for sure. And the ingredient cost at the start, there's not a major difference, like I said, because we are using
Right.
basically same recipe, and then even some hops. We need to use more hops, and the process is we're still fermenting the product. We're just fermenting it at a controlled temperature. So instead of having a tank where you're going to let the temperature rise up to 35, 40 degrees Celsius and then just have bubbling in it, just let it go. We have to control it. So the fermentation takes a bit longer, and it's something where you also have to watch it a lot more. A normal beer, you can just ferment, let it go, and once all the sugars are gone, you're good. Like
Right.
us, we have a very good contract packer. We don't have our own plant. We use we work with a company called Equals Brewing, which is a great partner. But there's a brewer on site always checking the tank, because as soon as you can't let it go, because if it goes over 0.5, 0.6, you're in trouble. So you can't just say like leave the tank and come back in a week and
Right.
call it a day. So
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
challenging process.
How much beer are you guys, or how much non-alcohol beer are you guys pumping out now?
We're right now in about 6,500 accounts in North America.
Amazing.
So we sell in 28 states across in
Oh
the
wow.
28 states in the US. We're available in all the provinces in Canada. No, we try to get as much out as possible. But we're pretty proud to have that many accounts. So it's just a question of people drinking as much as possible, and then we'll pump out as much as possible.
Oh, cool. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, what are your concerns, or are there concerns with what's going on in America right now with tariffs and trades? And I mean, there's a lot of talk about things, and being able to export to America might become a challenge in the near future. Are you guys dealing with that head on, or are you even seeing any of that in your world?
Um, so far, it's we've made sure we're addressing with our customers. I think we're very proud of the fact that we're a small Canadian company, and we're like making a little dent on the U.S. market, like on CNN.com for their dry Jan, and we had a little blurb at the end, and it's like
Yeah.
with Athletic Brewing and Heineken Zero, like it's pretty cool that
Cool.
two little guys from co-packing in London, Ontario, are on the CNN website. So we're very proud, and what we're doing to prepare sort of for it. We don't want to start co-packing in the U.S. That's sort of a off the table resort. So we're talking with our partners and saying, hey, if this happens, how do we keep the product in Canada? Like we're gonna eat something.
Mhm.
How can our partners, like, I'd rather buy 4 packs in London and co-pack in London and buy cans in Toronto. Like, but if it all goes to the US, nobody's going to make money off of that, right? So how can our suppliers help out? And we're going to eat most of it. So we're having those discussions, but hopefully it doesn't come to that we need to tighten our belt. Hopefully, calmer heads prevail, and
Do the supplies mostly for your business, they mostly come from Canada, or are they coming from the US, like the hops and such?
so hops, we have some hops from we do use some Canadian hops. We have some European hops. We have some hops from the US as well.
Right.
Most cans are manufactured in Toronto.
Yeah.
So cans are manufactured in Toronto. A lot of the malts will come from Canada. Most of the malts will come from Canada. Some malts, some more specialty malts will be from Europe, but most of the malts are actually Canadian. And then all the co-packing is done in Canada as well. The only content that is US is when you're getting into some of the West Coast hops, from
Citrusy kind of.
Washington's, the Citra,
Yeah.
Simcoe.
I just opened the blonde here, just because I'm on my second one because it's a hard Monday night we're going into it. So I mean, yeah, I can see here like two row dominantly. Obviously, everything's gonna be two row. I assume that's Canadian two row. But yeah, you get your Carapils kind of malt in there, that's what gets that nice caramel kind of flavor on it. But so you have traditional Hallertau and Zotz hops on there. So those must be the European ones that you're bringing in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to try a blonde beer with Zotz hops because generally that's like for a Pilsner, like, type of style, like a traditional European Pilsner. Something about them. Those noble hops are just, yeah, they're great.
They definitely stand out. And we tried to, when we develop each beer, we tried to really have a different, hop profile to them. Like, our session has Galaxy hops. Our let's say our original IPA was really West Coast IPA, so it'll be all West Coast American hops. So we tried to have different hop profiles to all the beers so that they really taste distinct.
Where's the name come from? The Sober Carpenter.
Everybody, yeah, it's a question we get a lot. Somebody wrote to us and said, like, it's the original Sober Carpenter is Jesus. Somebody came up with that. I thought it was a good answer. We should use that as an answer.
That's not true because he turned water into wine.
That's what he was drinking. He wasn't completely sober. A couple things when we started brainstorming on the name, myself and my brother, you go through these lists and then you sort of brainstorm, and then you talk to your friends and your wife about, hey, what do you think sticks? And there's a couple things we wanted to make sure we had. One was we wanted to make sure that people knew that we were a non-alcoholic product, right? So having the word sober in there, we wanted not to shy away from that fact and really have it in the name and really communicate that we're a non-alcoholic brand. We'll never do an alcoholic product. It will never be boozy Carpenter. We're Sober Carpenter. That's it. That's all.
Yeah.
We wanted a name that is easy to pronounce in French and in English. We want a name that because of that regionality too. Like we're very proud to. I think we can say with the fact that we're probably the most, one of the really national brands, craft national brands in Canada, because Quebec is sort of its own thing, right? Quebec is a difficult market. French obviously is an issue. So we wanted to have a name that stands out and is pronounceable in English and French. So in Quebec, we're the number 2 craft NA beer after Hors Sentier from Boreal. And so for a brand that's manufactured in Ontario, that's pretty neat. It's not Le Bockel or it's not L'Alchimiste, it's Sober Carpenter. So we wanted a name that you can pronounce in English and French so that we can truly build the national brand. And the last thing was a name that's fun and funny. So we thought, like, why Sober Carpenter? And the same reason, like, why? Because it's funny, it's fun. And that those are the three things why we're named Sober Carpenter.
You said the blonde, we can get that here, I guess.
Yeah, the blonde's at Sobeys. I know
great. It's a great blonde.
Their standard IPAs at Sobeys as well. I really like the red too, man. After kind of trying the sampler pack, did you try the? Or I know I gave you one out of the big kit.
I know there's a red. I have a red down in the fridge downstairs. Yeah,
I was like surprised how great that one was as well. Like, I mean, you're really nailing the flavors.
I'm interested to try it. I saw that it's an Irish red.
Irish red, yeah, with the Windsor yeast. And actually, I think the red is our most decorated beer. It's the one that's won the most awards for us.
Oh, really?
And it was actually in USA Today named the best non-alcoholic red in North America. So they had last year, they had, the best IPA, the best blonde, and our red was named as the best NA red in North America. So we're very proud of that fact. And I think it's probably our best beer. Like awards were, at least competition judge feel that it's the best. That's the one that's won the most medals for us. So
cool.
Huh. Sure.
Yeah, I don't think that one's in Sobeys, the red.
The Sobeys distribution in Atlantic Canada is challenging. We got to work on our distribution. So some stores can order, but all the stores like have what we call it's like a flex listing, right? So a store could order it. the product exists, but we have limited representation in like Atlantic Canada, right? Because to get in the stores, we use brokers. We don't have our own employees we're not big enough, so we don't
Right.
have our own employees going store to store.
Mhm.
We use brokers, and what our broker in Atlantic Canada has a couple bodies, but not enough to cover the whole territory and calling on it. But we work every day on it. They're working every day on it. We're adding stores, adding flavors, so just going increasing. But the best way to get all of our flavors or try anything is really the website sobercarpenter.com. And
Mhm.
on there you can order whatever flavors you want. We have two cases, free delivery after that. And we often
Oh,
have
wow.
very good deals. We just had like last week an IPA bundle, so you can just buy every IPA like as a special package. So that's the best way
You get them
to
all.
do it. Or else we also have Amazon.com that we
Oh,
sell.
okay. Yeah.
So just to get one case free shipping with your shampoo or whatever else you're buying on Amazon is a good way to just try get one case instead of buying two or three to get the free shipping. So. But we're working on distribution hard and trying to get also some food and restaurant distribution in Atlantic Canada. So working
Awesome.
hard on that.
You know what? Like I think Mike and I will just we can do some distribution for you down here. We'll work for beer. You just keep sending us care packages, and
Oh, there we go.
we'll spread the word out here.
But yeah, to find a point though, I mean, even now today, we record our show at a microbrewery or a pub, and
That's
that's
right.
how. So it's all mobile podcast gear we have, and we go out and we record right there on the spot. And we go to various pubs and microbreweries all across Nova Scotia. A real pain in the arse sometimes is if they don't have an alcohol beer, or if they have a really lousy one, right?
Yep.
Because I often don't have a second alcohol beer when I go out and record these shows.
Yeah, and you know what? We had a good brand from PEI here. They made only two. The beer was excellent.
What brand is that?
That's Upstreet. They
Oh
make
yeah.
They make alcoholic beer, but they also make two of their styles in non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
And Upstreet, the brewery / barbecue place, pulled out of here. I think you can still get it. It's called Libra. I think you can still get it.
It was
But
pretty popular here. Yeah. Do you
it was
guys
pretty
see
popular. But
anywhere else?
honestly, I thought it was one of the better ones. But like honestly, I'm really enjoying this blonde. And blonde's not really a style I enjoy that much. But I think it's just because you can taste the hops quite a bit on it, which is good because I like those two hops. But it's amazing how far this non-alcoholic beer has come, because I was definitely one of those people who, pre-COVID and all that stuff was like, you'll never, I'll never drink it because there isn't any that are any good. But that's changing drastically now, right? There's a big market for it, and now I feel like I can go out and I can grab 6 of them, and you can drive home because you can, drink 6 beer while you're sitting there talking to people and get in your car and go home.
It brings in a good point though. Now on a lot of these, I don't think there's warnings on yours, but there is warnings if I had the Corona zero alcohol in the summer at the house, and they actually say right on, do not drink more than 2. I have no idea why it said that, and if they had any kind of like concern other than maybe somebody feeling it, I don't know. Is there any concern of consuming multiple of these beers like there would be consuming regular beer?
This episode is brought to you by Camille Najat with Exit Realty Metro.
Camille Najat is an experienced real estate agent who prides herself in finding the perfect home for her clients. Camille can help you with a comparative market analysis to help determine the value of your home if you're planning on selling, or help you determine the going rate for the neighborhood you're moving into. She can also work with you at your pace.
You can reach Camille by calling 902-880-8429 or email camilla@exitmetro.ca.
Also, you can find her on Facebook at Camille Najat, Exit Realty Metro.
Not aware. No, not on our side. I'm just trying to think for Corona. The only thing I can think for Corona is they had added like vitamin D in there.
Yeah,
They had vitamin D to sort of make it like a special thing that like, summer and that. So maybe that was the reason to not consume too much
Overdo.
vitamin D.
Yeah.
And they may have actually removed that from their beer, but I'm not too sure. But I think that might be the reason why they had a warning.
I think it was more along
I'm
the
not-
lines that their beer just tastes like garbage,
So,
and you shouldn't drink more than that.
it's a good hot tub beer, buddy. It's a good hot tub classic. I'm an easy guy. I'm an easy drinker. I'll drink anything, pretty well. I'll try anything. So, yeah.
So you guys are located in Montreal, right?
So yeah, we're based out of Montreal. Myself and my brother live in Montreal, and then we work with Equals Brewing out of London, Ontario.
Okay.
So our products are manufactured in London.
Oh, so they're actually manufactured in London. Oh, okay.
Yep. Everything's
So-
manufactured in London, Ontario, and then we ship from there all over the Canada, and then we ship from there to Detroit, and then from Detroit all over the U.S.
Okay, so if someone went to Montreal, they would not be able to go to your brewery then.
No. They would they could come and knock on our sales office, and then we have some beer, but they won't see big fermenters and they won't see huge fermenters.
Right.
And we
okay.
went that route as well, just because there's building a brewery is just so it's time consuming, takes a lot of resources, and I don't think there you can only be good at so many things. You can be good at
Yeah.
packing stuff. You can be good at developing recipes. You can be good in sales and marketing. You can be good in customer service. And we know our strength wasn't to go knock on doors and talk to banks or investors and try to get a couple millions to build equipment. We know our style is we're good in marketing, we're good in product development, and we're good at talking to retailers and working with retailers, customer service. So those are our strengths, and that's why we partnered with a contract packer to do that. And so there's really two routes, and we took that route. We think it was the best option for us at the time.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it definitely lets you guys focus mostly on the actual marketing and developing recipes and things like that, and just let someone else brew it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes sense. So it beats shoveling grains, that's for sure.
And and brewing is a lot of fun, but it's certainly challenging, right? It's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. It's
Oh, yeah.
nonstop. So it's good to have you have to find the right partner, and you gotta love it to do it for sure.
And just like all the brewing part's the fun part. It's like the other part is like the cleaning. That's the part that I always hated about it, is making sure everything's clean, because beer, it can get infected. Not that it'll hurt you. It'll never hurt you, but it tastes and smells pretty bad when it is. And so you got to make sure you're cleaning things exceptionally well. And now even more so for you guys, because you guys are not fermenting it all the way, so the pathogens aren't actually being cooked off with the fermentation process. So is that even a concern for you guys when it comes to like if you had any situations like that where batches go off or anything like that? Does it happen more often than regular breweries?
I think working with Equals, we actually sort of I'd say we sort of both helped each other out, because the one thing you have to do with any beer in arrested fermentation is pasteurization, right?
Okay.
You have to pasteurize your beer, and that's a route. So basically, you're killing everything in can. And there's some people will say pasteurization can oxidize the beer, but the reality is, if you have a low level of oxygen or any low level of oxygen in the product, and you pasteurize it, what you're going to do is you're going to you kill everything in there, so you can't have any risk of contamination or re-fermentation. But you're basically aging the product, if there's any aging to do, any oxidation, right away. So once you get like our beer pasteurized, it will taste the same thing day one as it'll taste in 2 years. It's not like an IPA with really fresh hops, where if it's 3 months old, you're seeing that the hops are losing their flavor. So fermentation does that. The other thing that, because we're NA, What we had to deal with in terms of in terms of retail is um, let's say the ABNL and LCBO, they all work with alcoholic products. So it's not in their mandate to ask for um, certain types of, they don't ask for audit certifications, for example. So we've sold product to Costco, we've sold product to Loblaws. All these retailers have certain standards of quality that require uh, high level certifications. So because of that, we've had to put in place with Equals certain standards for cleaning, tracking that might be above what a regular brewery has to do because the standards of a Costco are higher than what the LCBO will require in terms of facility certification.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, like, yeah, when I look at this on top of that, the calories and stuff like that are pretty good too for people. Anyone like that's another factor with this. Without the alcohol, the calories tend to be much lower too. So
Yeah.
that's another thing. But what like is there like because I mean it's a non-alcoholic product, and sometimes with alcohol and with hops, like things tend to last a little longer. But is there a shelf life for your like for the beers because there's non-alcoholic on there?
Sorry. So yeah, there is a shelf life. The shelf life varies depending on the beer.
Yeah.
And then, but what we do also is we do bench testing. We keep samples of every beer we're brewing. We got a couple, and we'll test them down the line and to see if any if product is we need to send a note to distributors. Maybe this lot number pull a bit faster, or that's fine. We have our
Yeah.
standard levels, but we usually have very high level of turnover on a product because as the volume has grown, what we've been able to do is so rather than doing it's a bit more expensive what we do, but I think it helps with the product turnover. So when we brew an IPA, let's say a regular IPA, we'll brew it and then we'll brew it almost every week or every 2 weeks. And every week and every 2 weeks, we do a bit of 355 ml. We do a bit of USA product and we do a bit of Canada product. So rather than saying week one, we're doing all 355 ml and we have 3,000 cases of
Right.
355, we do a bit of everything. And so it helps with the velocity and the turnover of the product.
Smart.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah.
What's in the future for Sober Carpenter?
I think what we really want to work on and what we want to focus is just ensuring that we keep um, bringing new products to the table and innovating. You mentioned how the quality of beer has increased, and that is because there is a lot of competition, and that's positive for the consumer because it forces all the companies like us to sort of take a look at the product and make sure that we're continually improving it and bringing new products to the table. So that's one thing we want to do is continue those limited series or limited edition products, bring some to the market. And so that's a big focus of ours in 2025. And I think we want to make sure that we increase the distribution in terms of reaching. I think retail is the retail stores like the Sobeys and the Loblaws of this world are getting more product onto the shelves and increasing the shelf space. I think the next target really for all the NA products is restaurants and bars, making sure that you know you have 2 or 3 options of NA drinks on the menus, and they're printed on the menus. I think that at that level, probably we're 1 or 2 years behind in terms of what's in the restaurants versus what's on the store shelves.
I hope to see that too. I think it's just
Yeah.
awesome. Good beer choices, whether you can drink that day or not, right? So Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys do have a cider too. We do have that downstairs. So you guys are doing a cider product. Any thoughts at all of moving into like the like the sodas or anything like that?
This episode is brought to you by Strategy Up. Strategy Up is a business consulting firm led by Mark Zerka, who has over 20 years' experience in building commercial strategies that will up your game, organize your teams, increase your productivity, and grow your business.
Whether you're a construction company looking to grow your revenue or a busy restaurant owner just trying to keep the doors open, Strategy Up can help. Strategy Up's boutique-style consultations will help you improve business process across nearly any industry.
Being a successful entrepreneur does not mean you have to be an expert in everything. Strategy Up specializes in building a relationship with you. Once pain points in the business are realized, Strategy Up will introduce process and technology that will power up your game to the next level.
A successful business requires investment. Your next step towards growth starts now. Email info@mystrategyup.com for a free business discovery call. Up your game with Strategy Up.
No, it's not something we've taken a look at. The cider does very well. That's a de-alc cider, so we actually ferment it to 7% and then extract. So the process where I say we remove flavor, we do remove some flavor versus the cider, but I think we end up with a nice crisp product. But I think there might be some cider innovation in 2025. But I think not in terms of the hot waters and stuff like that. The more soda products, I think beer is keeping us busy. Beer and cider, I think we're
Awesome.
focused on that.
There's nothing wrong with like kind of really mastering a market. I mean, I know Quebec. I believe it's a Quebec company that does some of the mixed drinks. Atypique. I think you.
Yeah, that's a big yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
They're from Quebec. I mean, their rum and Coke honestly fooled me one time. Like, it tastes like it has rum in it. It's crazy, right? But that's if you like a rum and Coke type of thing. If you want to get into there, but they have a bunch of different flavors and everything. So we can get some of those here if you're like a mixed drink. But I think stay. I don't think anyone has to venture into that because you guys are making a great beer product, and I'll try the cider later. But it's always interesting to see if you want to compete in that space. But if beer's keeping you busy, just keep crushing it, right?
That's what we gotta keep working at it.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right. It's time to move to our silly part of the show. Are you ready?
Good to go.
All right, cool. So these questions, it's not that silly, but we just ask random questions. Matt, you got the questions there too, my friend?
Oh, did you send them to me?
I hope I did, or if I didn't, I'm going to send them right now.
No, I got them.
You have them? Okay, awesome.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll just start question number one. What's your favorite Quebec-specific dish? Could be anything.
Oh, gotta go with poutine. I had some on Sunday when skiing with my daughter. I had poutine for lunch.
Nice. Okay.
Sure.
I was going to see if you chose something different.
I like it. Do you like the poutine? Is that like? Do you like poutine or like specifically? Like, do you like the galvaude?
The galvaude, I'm not familiar with that.
Oh, that's the poutine with the friggin' peas and all that stuff on it. Yeah.
Oh, no. Cheese curds, sauce, and fries. That's it.
Yeah.
Simple.
Fair answer.
All right, number two. So, what was the worst movie that you saw last year?
What is it? My daughter's not going to be happy. Wicked. I'm not a musical guy, but my daughter wanted to see Wicked. I was just happy not to fall asleep during it.
Yeah.
But I can't take 2 hours of singing.
So I was dragged to that
rough.
one as well. How about though? There was one great part of that movie, I thought, in my opinion, and it's when Mr. Goldblum appeared. Towards the end of the movie, the last 15 minutes, it almost like became a different movie when Jeff Goldblum appeared in that, and it was just very silly. But I'm with you on that. It was a long watch.
Yeah.
I saw that one. Yeah. All right, number three. Okay, this is a choice you can make. Okay, we won't judge you. Quebec, you can only choose one or take a drink. Quebec separates or becomes the 51st state.
Oh, I think Quebec becomes the 51st state, and you get an extra 20 seats in the House, and then the House becomes blue in the U.S. You get 2 seats on the Senate becomes blue, and it's done. The U.S. is not red anymore; it's blue.
You know what?
I
That
like the answer. It was a
that's a
smart,
great
very smart
answer.
answer. I love it.
And there's a guy out east who talked about Quebec separation. His name's Rick Mercer, and he said
Oh,
he had this great bit where he said we have a plan for Quebec if they ever separate. He says if Quebec separates, we're gonna join you. All of Canada is gonna separate because we're gonna be one big country called Quebec. And then we're going to put it to a vote to rename it back to Canada, and we'll start it all over again. So that was very much what you got going on there, your strategy.
That's smart. Love it.
Very good.
Okay.
All right, next question. Would you rather lose your hearing or your sight?
Uh, I think I'd rather lose my hearing. I think there's a documentary right now on Netflix with the family. It's a family from Quebec, and they know I don't recall the name, but I saw some of the previews, and I think the kids they're traveling for 1 year with the parents because they've gotten a diagnosis that they're going to lose their sight in a year. So it's on Disney, and I saw that, and as I got thinking, I think that would be very challenging, having seen things and remembering, and not being able after that. So I think that'd be more challenging.
Great.
I would agree with that. Next question.
Okay. What style of beer tastes the most like a beer with alcohol in it? So Sober Carpenter lineup or any non-alcohol beer, I guess. But which one of yours tastes the most like a real beer with alcohol in it that you think you could fool somebody with?
I I think it may be the hazy IPA because you got that juicy taste in it that would mask the alcohol usually,
Okay.
right? Like because I think a hazy IPA, even though you got alcohol in it, sometimes you won't feel it as much as a West Coast IPA or like a blonde or red or something else because that juiciness you're gonna mask a bit. So I think I'd say the hazy IPA.
Good
All
answer.
right. All right. Who would win in a celebrity death match? Lady Gaga or Celine Dion?
Oh, my
I'll put
mom
the-
would kill me if I don't say Celine Dion.
Okay, yeah.
She's a huge fan.
Good
So I got no choice.
answer. Okay.
Fair enough.
And this is kind of just a wrap-up question, man. We ask every guest this same question, and we were getting some awesome answers. Take your time thinking about it. A piece of advice that was given to you that you like to just share on with the world. It could be a quote that you remember and kind of live by, or just something your mom said that kind of stuck with you. Whatever. Just any old piece of advice that you love to share.
I think it's a pretty simple piece of advice, and that's what I tell all my employees. Nothing spectacular or anything, but I think it's in any circumstance, the customer is always right. Whether it's a retailer, whether it's an individual customer, like if we always take the time to answer customers, and we always try to make it right. Like during the winter, like there's product freezes. Let's say when we send it online, you don't argue. You send it back, or you replace it in the spring when there's no risk of freezing. I mean, I think that's the most important thing. Customer is always right because I remember in school in one of my classes, the statistic that I've always remembered is one unhappy customer will tell 9 people for every happy customer who tells one. So an unhappy, and especially now that probably has increased because now people go and will say it on their Facebook pages
Right.
versus mouth to mouth. So I think our how we've dealt with customers always right if it's retailer or end user customer that's most important lesson.
Cool. Good answer. Awesome, man. That's it
Yeah.
for the funny questions. And cheers to you. Thank you so much for having a beer with us. And
Cheers.
yeah, we'll continue to enjoy Sober Carpenter.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks,
No,
man.
thank you.
Cheers.
With folks from all around. So pour one up, enjoy your life, and new friends surely will be found.
Thank you for listening to The Afternoon Pint. We are an independent podcast and we need your support. Please take a moment to hit that like, follow, and share button. Email us if you have an idea or suggestion for the show. Please send your feedback. We'd love to hear from you.